Hello, good evening. Welcome to today's episode of the 𝐀𝐝𝐦𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐨 HR Digest. My name is 𝐀�𝐝𝐦𝐢𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐢, and I hope your weekend has been great so far. Mine has. Great. Tomorrow is a holiday, so we all get to rest some more. But today, on today's episode, we have a very interesting topic. Interesting for me, and I believe you would agree with me also that it is also a topical subject matter in the world of work, and it is on the subject how to engage disengaged employees. So I know you'd agree with me, it's a very topical issue. If you're familiar with this subject matter, then I think it's a good opportunity. It's a good opportunity for you to join the conversation with your comments. And if you're not, then it's also an opportune learning time. So I would indulge you to stick and stay with us and send in your questions so that we can answer them whilst the program is running. You can join us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. So you can join the conversation using any of these channels, and then first tell us where you're joining us from, and then drop your questions or your comments. So by now, if you're not new to the 𝐀𝐝𝐦𝐢𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐢 HR Digest, you know that as we've made our mark, our guests on the digest are always very seasoned professionals and leading voices in their field. And today is no exception. Our guest is a well-known lady in the corridors of HR management, Madam Patricia Abena-Kisi. She is the founder and chief executive officer of 𝐀𝐝𝐦𝐢𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐢 Consult Limited. Yes. We are talking to the lady herself, the first lady of 𝐀𝐝𝐻 Consult. She's a human resource management and business development consultant, a personal and career development coach, and an author. Madam Patricia holds an MA in Human Resource Development from the University of Cape Coast and an Executive Master's Certificate in Organizational Development from the African Management and Productivity Institute, Accra, Ghana. She also holds a bachelor's degree in Educational Foundations from the University of Cape Coast, and she's a council member of Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. and a member of the Society for Human Resource Management in Ghana. Before I bring Patricia on, for us to be mindful of the conference that is coming, the 𝐀𝐝𝐦𝐢𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐬 conference. You know how we do it every year. So this year again is not going to be an exception. And this year we are off to Kumasi once again, and it's going to be on the 26th of September 2024. And you really do not want to miss it. By my count, I think we have about 7 weeks and some days to go. And so you would want to make sure you take your leave, start booking your leave. Those who know you have a long process, start doing that now so that you can make the time for that. And if you haven't registered, I'm curious to know why, but whatever it is, please try and sort it out. And you can join. You can register. I'll share the links, will be shared on the screen, and I'll share the phone numbers with you shortly. Then the next item I would like to talk about is the 𝐀𝐝𝐻R Digest magazine, which is out. It's out now, and guess what? It's for free. Yes, it's for free. So please make sure you grab a copy. The caveat, please, whilst you're enjoying the free copy, please speak to your organizations and get them to book a slot for the next edition, so that they can do their adverts, and then we can, that's how the money comes in. So please book a slot for advertisement in the magazine. We'll be very grateful for that. So at this juncture, I welcome our guests, Madam Patricia Abinakisi.
Hello.
Hello, Madam. Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a privilege to be on this platform. Thank you.
Yes, I'm happy to have you here. Looking good as always.
Thank you.
All right. So today, our subject, for me, I find the subject very interesting for a number of reasons. I won't get into that. So for the sake of people who may have heard and may not understand the subject matter properly, if we could walk us through what means employees are disengaged, and then we can pick it up from there.
Okay. I think you went over a bit, but I'm guessing you want us to go into what it is when we talk about employee engagement
Yes,
or disengagement, what it is. Okay.
yes,
Thank you
please.
again. And indeed, you said it right that it is a very interesting topic. Not just interesting, it's also topical. And the reason is just simple that employee engagement research has shown that it is that which keeps the company going. It is that which brings about the increase in productivity, increase in performance. And when we talk about it, so I'll look at engagement and then we will negate it to get a disengagement. So when we talk about the engagement, employee engagement has to do with how connected an individual is, first of all, to his job, to the workplace or the organization, and then to his colleagues. It is the emotional attachment, if you like, the emotional attachment that an individual has for his job, for the organization he or she works in, and then for the people that they work with. It's about connection. It's about emotional attachment. That is simple way I would say it.
Okay.
If the person is connected to the organization, is connected to the person, it means that the person loves, first of all, the job he or she is doing. The person loves the organization, and the person loves the people that they work with. Now, if this is the case, then what it means is that it creates an environment where work happens and the person enjoys the work.
Okay.
But when you talk about the reverse, you are looking at the person being disconnected totally from the organization. First of all, the person doesn't find joy in what he does, doesn't find fulfillment, there is no emotional connection, emotional attachment to the organization or the job, and even the people that they work with. They are emotionally not available for the business. And the disengagement happens in two main reasons. You look at disengagement for people who are actively disengaged, and those who are, you can say, they are mildly disengaged or they are not engaged.
Passively, yeah. Okay.
Right. So if we talk about the disengagement, you are looking at a situation where an employee, yes, is actively disengaged. And when we talk about the signs and all that, we look at what actively disengaged employee really does, and those who are mildly disengaged or not engaged at all, what they do. But before that, let me share this with us. And disengagement has increased according to a Gallup report. And the report that was in 2022, the report says that 32% of employees, and the research was done in America, yes, about 67,000 employees were polled to research upon, and it came up that 32% are engaged.
Okay.
32% of the workforce are engaged, right? And then what really even is the issue is the 18% that are actively disengaged. And the report says that this has been an increase. It's been increasing over time. The disengaged employees that percentage has been increasing over time. And so as of 2022, we had 18% of employees who are actively disengaged. So you have 35% engaged, 18% actively disengaged. Then the in between, the remaining, they are the people they are not engaged, they are not disengaged, they are not actively disengaged. So they are the ones that will say, country broke, you know, broke, we dey inside.
They are just there.
They are not, they don't really demonstrate emotion, so they are neutral. Whatever happens will happen. These are the people who, they may be showing up every day, they may be giving their best, doing competently what they have been assigned to do, but they will not do anything extra. And you realize that if everybody is doing what they are assigned to do and not actively seeking to help the organization achieve its goals, that is where the organization will continue to remain an average organization. But if the organization will really be outstanding, it will take engaged employees to make this happen.
Okay.
So briefly, that's what I would say about the engaged employees and disengaged employees.
Okay. So I mean, you touched on science, and I think you even went into it a little bit on the common signs and to look out for with disengagement. But since we've spoken about the two ends of disengaged employees, maybe you could walk us through certain specific telltale signs. I'm particularly worried about the country book, country notebook category, because I feel
because they make up the majority.
Right. And I feel they are more dangerous. They can easily stack the either parties into them, and then that begins to grow and then takes over. But what are those signs that we could use to tell as indicative of a disengaged employee, actively or passively disengaged?
Right. Okay, so I think when you said it right, when I was talking about the differences between the disengaged and then the engaged employees, I made mention of some of the signs.
Yes.
So, for example, you see that this person was doing very well, but all of a sudden, the person is not able to meet deadlines again. All of a sudden, the quality of work of the person has gone down. All of a sudden, the person is not able to meet their performance targets. And you see that they begin to withdraw from activities that are not like compulsory. If they must not attend this activity, they will withdraw. They wouldn't want to be associated with any activity. But if it's part of their job, if it is required that they attend, they will. But if it is not required, they would want to withdraw from such activities. These are people who normally will not even ask for feedback on their performance. And if you are giving them feedback, they just listen to you. They just take it as it is, and they do nothing about it. These are people who would do their work competently, but they will not do anything extra. They will not go the extra mile. They will not actively seek the good of the organization or the good of the team.
Okay.
And these ones are the majority, the 50% that we are saying are mildly disengaged or they are not engaged. But if it comes to the actively disengaged employees, those are the employees that would even go about sabotaging the company. They are the ones that would openly speak against the company. And they are the ones, when they are there and a new employee joins, they will ask him, what are you doing here? They are there, but they will ask the new employee, hey, what are you doing here? Are you sure you can stay here? Hey, why didn't you get somewhere else to work or something like that? So they speak negatively about the organization. And they also negatively affect the relationship within the organization. So whatever they do, it means that they create an environment that with time it becomes toxic. And if you are not careful, they are even the ones that will promote workplace bullying, that will make people not safe within the organization because they are in to destroy.
Right.
And sometimes these people even go on social media and then be talking ill about the organization, but mouthing the organization and all that. So, but for those who are mildly disengaged, for them they will show up, they will come to work, they will do their job competently, but they will do nothing extra.
Okay.
But for those who are actively disengaged, that is when absenteeism come in. Sometimes they don't even show up at all. Without any good reason, they are absent from work. And you don't see them giving up their best. You see them always complaining at every opportunity they get. And they don't sometimes only even complain within the organization, even outside of the organization. Anybody that cares to listen, they want to complain about the organization.
Right.
So basically, these are some of the signs I can immediately come up with.
Okay. Those are good. I have some follow-up questions, but let me ask my next question. Maybe somewhere along the line I'll bring that up. So the causes, what are some of in fact, the question I have is around what are some of the causes of disengagement? In fact, the first response to my previous question about the passive disengaged people, sometimes I ask myself, how quickly can someone get so disengaged? Can someone be hired even during probation, they can be disengaged? Is it even possible? And what could possibly make someone get so disengaged at such an early stage in their employment phase? But then maybe you can fuse that into this question. That's what are some of the primary drivers or causes of employee disengagement at the workplace?
Yes, to your follow-up question. Yes, there can be an instance where an employee joins and during the probation period, the person is disengaged. You see, when somebody applies for a job, goes through the process, and the excitement that the person gets when the person gets the offer, and especially if the offer is somewhat good, they're very excited about it, and they come with a lot of expectations. Now, if they come, how you welcome them into the organization, how you seek to integrate them into the organization will determine whether they would be engaged or disengaged. Maybe at this point, it won't be actively disengaged, but it will be the passive one, mildly disengaged, not engaged at all.
Right.
And it happens mainly because the process of integration, or what you call orientation, or what you call onboarding, is not done properly. Sometimes we focus only on orientation, or we introduce the person to the team members, you introduce the person to the washrooms, you introduce the person to the desk, and all that, the various managers, and that is it. But for the person to be properly integrated into the organization, it takes more than that. That is why onboarding should be a process, and it should last. Sometimes it runs between minimum 3 months. It can be 6 months. It can even be a whole year.
Yeah.
Where, because the culture of the organization is established, and so the person should be integrated not only to what the person is coming to do, but even to the culture of the organization. It should be well integrated. The person should be made to understand, because all the things that has been found to be causing the disengagement, or the drivers of disengagement, top amongst them is the lack of understanding of the mission and the vision of the organization, lack of connection to the organization itself. And so you realize that that connection is not there. The person doesn't seem to understand, first of all, the culture of the organization, the vision, the mission, the values, and the person doesn't understand. So if the person doesn't understand, how can the person integrate properly into the organization? So you need to start from there, from the onboarding stage, where the person, you get the person to understand and be open, and let the person know that this environment, you are psychologically safe to come up with your suggestions and all that, and let the person understand the process. So yes, if the onboarding goes wrong, but there have been instances where the onboarding has gone wrong, or the orientation has gone and people have resigned within the probation. Those who will not resign because, I mean, they don't have anywhere else to go, they'll be disengaged.
Right.
So the onboarding part, that is one of the. And talking about the other courses, I've mentioned the fact that if there's a disconnection between the personal values and the values of the organization, if the culture, there's no cultural fit from the onset, it's going to create problems. That love, because I talked about emotional connection, being emotionally available to the organization. It's just like it's a marriage, right? It's two people coming together to work. It's just like marriage. So if emotionally one person is not available, there's going to be a ditch somewhere along the line.
Right.
So if the person doesn't divorce you by resigning, the person will be there, but that one, sometimes silent treatment, sometimes
That is even worse.
that is even worse, So
Yeah.
so that is that. So first of all, we need to understand and let the people understand the mission, the vision, the values, and the alignment. So if there's misalignment, then it creates problem. For somebody, if immediately the person realizes that there's misalignment, the person will leave honorably. Others too, they will not leave because they don't have too many options, so they will stay, but they will not be engaged.
Okay.
Then we talk about leadership, poor leadership. We say people leave their managers and not their organizations. To a large extent, that is true. So
Right.
if the leader doesn't seem to care about the person, about the employee, then why should the employee care about the organization?
Valid question.
And until such a time that they know that you care about them, they wouldn't care about you or about the organization. So if the managers themselves, and sometimes I don't fault them, sometimes it's lack of knowledge, and sometimes beyond lack of knowledge, it is something that it has become an attitude that I'm the boss, and because I'm the boss, you should always take what I say and don't question me, and then don't say anything, and especially the millennials, as of 2018, research shows that they make up 35% of the workforce, the millennials.
Okay.
And for them, engagement is number one. They value engagement more than anything else. So if they come and they're not able to speak their minds, they're not able to make suggestions, you don't care about them and how they fare beyond even the workplace and beyond the output you expect from them, believe me, if they don't leave, they are disengaged.
Mm.
And that is a problem. So poor leadership is one of the reasons why people will be disengaged. Apart from that, to lack of opportunities for growth. Lack of
Mm.
opportunity. People don't expect that if they came in, for example, as an HR assistant, and they have the potential to grow, and there's an opening for, say, an HR officer, and this person has the potential to do the job. You bring in an external person as an HR officer, you are killing the initiative, you are killing the vibe, you are killing the emotional attachment, connection that the person initially had
Right.
with the
Right.
organization. So
Right.
that is why some organizations, well-meaning ones, what they do when the person comes in, you even want to know their career objectives, their career goals. You want to know where they want to be in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years. You want to, even as part of the performance management, you want you want them to state their personal goals and know how the organization can assist them to achieve their personal goals. So
Mm.
if that is not there, it creates them. They might not leave. And that is what I'm saying. The danger is that they'll be present, but they'll be rent seeking. That is not what is they are there because of what they are getting, their salaries mostly.
Yeah.
That is it.
Yeah.
So they will not
Yeah.
do anything extra.
So
They will
the
do their
quiet
work.
quitting.
Yes, they'll be quite quitting. They will do their work, all right, but you won't get them to do anything extra
Right. Right.
because they don't see growth. They don't see opportunities for growth. And the other
Mm.
thing is also when you don't care about their growth. If there's career progression is there, but when, for example, there's no training, they came in and they've not seen any effort by the organization to help them improve on their skills. If it happens like that, then it's going to make them disengaged.
Right.
And that is where
Okay.
you see all the negative signs when people would. And you see the 50% who are passively disengaged or passive, they're neither engaged, they don't hate you, they don't love you. you know these people are the ones who would do their jobs competently. They will follow their job description. That is when you are giving them something they say is not in my job description, so
Mm.
it's a no for me.
Yeah.
Am I going to be paid extra for this? If not, it's a no for me. you know
Right.
Sometimes you think that this person is not, yes, the person is disengaged or the person is not engaged.
Mm.
If the
Mm.
workload is also too much that it breaks their backs, those who can leave will leave, they will resign. But those who cannot leave because they of butter and bread, they will stay, but you get them to do the minimum.
Mm. Mm.
So
Mm.
somebody resigns, and instead of bringing another person or even preparing someone else to take up the role and bringing in somebody else to help, you leave the workload on one person and expect the person, especially when you know that this person is your A employee, they are very good at their jobs, they always go the extra mile. So you think that you can keep loading them, you can keep loading them, you can keep loading them. That can will tell you you are called from my ebu, right? So it means that if you if you load one person so long, the person will just break down.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in order for the person not to break down, the person will just say that, okay, now I'll do what I can do and leave
My
what
breath.
I can. That is it. Okay. So you
Right.
realize this person was doing very well, going the extra mile all the time. But because the person is doing well, you are overloading the person. And now the person becomes disengaged and burn out. And no,
Mm.
stress is a huge thing. People are dying out of stress. And those who are enlightened about this, they wouldn't want to take it on. So either they will leave or they will just resign to being disengaged or passive, neutral.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm, mm. And does hmm, this even the question I'm about to ask, I feel is tricky. So we've talked about no room for growth. They don't
Yeah,
see a feasible path to pursue for growth.
exactly.
Um, does long service, the reason I'm saying it's a tricky question is, well, let me ask anyway. Does long service contribute to disengagement? And so here's the reason. Someone there's no room for growth. However, maybe the person might feel they're of a certain age, they might not necessarily be too desirable for a new job. And so their chances of getting a new job is looking wobbly, but they don't see they've plateaued. They feel in the organization they've plateaued.
Yeah.
Can it contribute to disengagement? In this case, then I would say they'll be part of the passive ones.
Absolutely. 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 So they have been with you for a long time. Now they think they have reached their zenith. There's nothing more for them to do. There's nothing more for them to achieve. There's nothing more that they expect. So they will
Mhm.
just be there.
There.
So these people they will say, "Oh, I have paid my dues. Now there's nothing more left for me to give." They
Would
yes, they will
would
be
such
they will be
people would such people be beneficial or toxic? Because I don't know this for a fact, I feel people in this kind of category might fall into the Mebahache association, where they are just there, but they are just playing here and there, and they could either play good or they could play bad cop. I could be
oh you,
wrong. I stand
yeah,
corrected.
usually such people you see such people are people who are not who have come far with you and they appreciate the opportunities you have given them, only that there's nothing more for them to achieve. So these people will not
Mm,
be actively disengaged. No, they will not
okay.
talk ill about the organization. They will not. These people are loyal. Okay,
Right.
just that
All right.
they are tired, so they are not giving more.
Mm,
And even apart from these people, there are those that are seeing the organization as, oh, this organization is my short-term employer. So for them, they also don't do much. They are part of the
mm,
50% that we are talking about. They are just there.
yeah.
So those who have come through long service, they have been with you for a while, they are there. They've reached their zenith. There's nothing more. They will not be actively disengaged. They will keep on doing what they're supposed to do, but they will not do anything extra.
Mm,
And those who see this as the organization as a short-term employer, so it's a training. I'm just doing this. If I get a better job, then I'll leave. These are the people
yeah.
who will also be part of the 50%, and they would not be actively engaged. They will be
Okay. Okay.
disengaged. Yeah.
So what are some of the proven strategies for? So you've identified a few things. I think the costs, in a way, are a way of letting managers know that these people are there. I think they are indicative enough. So, in the instance where these people have been identified as disengaged people, what are some strategies that have stood the test of time in re-engaging employees who have become disconnected or disengaged?
Okay. Whilst I'm tackling that, I want to look at it first of all from how you can identify. I mean, we've given the signs, but as managers,
Mhm.
what can we do individually in our
Okay.
roles as managers, as leaders, to identify the root causes of these signs? So you see that this person was doing very well. Now the person is not performing any longer. This person was going the extra mile. Now the person is just doing the minimum. This person was meeting deadlines. Now the person is not meeting, is missing deadlines. This person is achieving their targets. Now they're not achieving their targets. If you are a manager, a good leader, you should be worried. And your worry should lead you to ask questions. Your worry should lead you to have conversations, honest conversations with the employee. You see, HR has this role to play, but here I'm looking at the manager, the line manager. But of course, HR will have to put in place the systems and the procedures and the policies to say, if you see this, do this, and guide them. But the onus is on the leader to have a conversation, honest conversation,
Mm.
and having regular one-on-one sessions with them would really help. So you do one-on-one sessions. Recently, I did one with my team, and it was eye-opening. You get opportunity to talk to them, especially when you you create a psychologically safe environment for them to speak. It becomes easier. But if the environment psychologically they feel that they are not safe, you may have the one-on-one, but it will not work.
Don't
They will
work.
not
Yeah.
say anything. They will not tell you the truth. Okay, but if you create an environment where they feel safe to speak their minds and they know that they will not be intimidated or penalized for saying that, then they'll go ahead and do it. Apart from one-on-one section, you may also want to do an employee engagement survey. And this, I'm saying that this survey should be anonymous. So if possible, and the organization can afford it, bring in a consultant to do that, because then they will be open to share their ideas. They will feel more comfortable knowing that it's from an external person than from somebody within the organization. Because even if you promise them that it's anonymous, they will still have that fear that,
Yeah.
you see, when you are writing a test and you know that your teacher knows your handwriting. So, so you want to,
Yeah.
so yes, you are writing, but you know that this person will fish me out because they know my handwriting. It's the same
Yeah.
thing. Oh,
Yeah.
anybody in this organization knows how I talk, knows how I the posture
You're
and
right.
all that. So
My
if it
tone.
happens, still they'll be able to know, point it, trace it back to me. So still they
Right.
are afraid. But if you bring in a consultant, then they will be open to do that. And even that, they will ask you, "Are you sure?" I remember we did one for a company, an anonymous one, and wanted to gauge them the engagement level of the employees, and they invited us to do that for them. And even that, they were asking, "Madam, are you sure? Are you sure nobody will know?" You understand that? So it's better to bring in somebody that would, a neutral person that can help, and that will
Right.
really be very, very important. But have honest conversations with them, and let them, and let them speak their truth, let them speak their minds. It might be that it could be something outside of the workplace. Find out how you can help them deal with it. But if it has to do with something within the organization that is not helping them to be engaged, then that one you have the power to do something about it, and then work
Mm.
them, find out what you can do, because sometimes what you think is what they may need may not be what they need, right?
Yeah.
So you want to have a conversation with them and then get to know
Okay.
that. The once that is done, whatever feedback you get, the first step to engaging, re-engaging them is implementing the results, the outcome of your one-on-one sessions, the outcome of your surveys, to implement them, to see that you are doing something about it, to re-engage them. Because what is
Mm.
the point of having this conversation with them? What is the point of having this survey if you will not act on them? And I remember sometime when we had this survey with one of the organizations, the team members were asking us, "Are you sure they will implement it? Are you
Mm.
sure they will?" And are you sure? So what's the point of doing it if you are not going to implement it? What's the point of
Yeah.
asking me how you would help me be engaged if you are not going to do what I think? And sometimes these things are not something that is beyond us. There are little things, that like they fear the songstress will say, "Nyoma kitten na woyɛ no." Little things that you do that
Yeah.
commit to help the people get engaged.
Right.
You know? So showing that you care, asking about their career aspirations, asking about how you can guide them to achieve that. Oh, I realized that you came in with first degree. You've been here for 5 years. Do you have any aspiration of pursuing your education further? The person might say yes, but um, I think that I still need the money, so I can't resign to go. And also, oh, you can point them to opportunities that are around that they may not have to resign. You can say, oh, we can
Right.
help you take online courses or weekend, and if it starts with Friday, we can give you Friday to you close early enough to go, and So then you tell them that you care.
Right.
Oh, I think you've been here for 5 years. you are employed as an HR officer. Do you have any aspiration in future? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? I remember we interviewed somebody, and one of the panel members asked them where they see themselves in the next, like their career aspirations. So one day they want to be the general manager of a hotel. I mean, that is fine, and it doesn't mean it's something that will happen tomorrow. But of course, they have a future plan that you can support them to achieve. And I think
Right.
one of the best way to support them to achieve their personal goals and aligning their personal goals to the goals of the organization is incorporating their personal goals in your performance management system.
Mm.
Where a typical performance management system will have the technical goals or the competency goals, would also have the behavioral goals. It should also have the personal goals or personal growth goals. So that is part of it. Then you can guide the person. The organization may not have to sponsor that, but you provide
Mm.
guidance.
Mm.
You monitor. You
Gotcha.
give, you be like the accountability partner to make sure that they are on the true path to achieving their career goals. So that is one. The second thing you can do. Thirdly, you can look at mentorship programs within the organization. I think most organizations haven't realized how important some of these things are. Outside of the organization, people would, out of their own will, go out to seek for mentors to guide them and all that. But if the organization makes it an integral part of the things they do for their employees, where you pair experienced professionals within the organization with the entry level ones or those who are in the mid of their career, you pair them so they can pour themselves positively though into them, so they can guide them through the process. But
Yeah.
in doing so too, we have to also be very careful so that you don't bring somebody who is himself disengaged to mentor somebody.
Someone.
Disengagement is contagious. I mean, it's
Right.
infectious. It
Right.
will end up, like you say, recruiting them from actively engaged to passive. And
Mm-hmm.
then before you realize they're actively disengaged. But it should be
Okay.
well, you should know the people, you should know who to pair with what, with who, and then guide them through the process. And you should not just leave it to them to find their own ways of going through the process of the mentorship. But HR people, we should set structures in place. We should have mentorship goals. So before they start the process, you engage them, you take them through even how the mentorship should go. You train the mentors on how the process should be. You will also make sure that you have mentorship goals where the employees will sign, that is the mentees, and the mentors will also sign. That will be binding on them. You will even put a structure as to how the process should go, when they should meet, how they should meet, what are the things they should be discussing. I mean, there should be a guideline generally, so that you don't leave
Mm.
it, because if you do, you will not see the benefits that you would expect.
Mhm.
So it should be well guided mentorship program. And I think it doesn't have to be a big organization to be able to do that. I mean, if you are two people, you are the manager, the employee, you can do that and support them in their career growth. it
Mm.
it shows, it demonstrates to them that you care,
Yeah.
that you
Yeah.
want beyond their productivity, beyond the results you want to see them at work. You also want them to grow, you want them to be better, you want them to achieve more. So if
Mm.
you care for me this much, why wouldn't I care for you as an organization?
Of course. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So let's go on to the community and see what we have here. Okay. Charles Loco. Hello, community members. Hello, Charles Loco. Hello, Gregory Anang. Charles and Grace, why are you talking, joining us from? Zachary Salamat, good evening, watching from Kumasi. Thank you so much for joining. We have Yvonne Minta from Accra. Hello, Yvonne. We have Josephine Aqua, great presentation. Thank you. Thank you so much, Josephine. Josephine also says, this is a real life situation at the workplace. Yes, definitely. It is a real life situation. Rose Adra Ochiri, enjoying every bit of the conversation. Thank you so much. Why are you joining us from Rose? We have Michael Kisi. I'm Michael Kisi watching from Cape Coast. Welcome, Michael Kisi. Wow, what if you know, you know.
If you
What
know,
a
you know.
powerful what a powerful topic and discussion. Absolutely. And we have George Adi, very insightful, joining from Ashoma. Okay, Charles Loco is joining from Ashoma Estate. Thank you so much for joining. But I need your questions. We have a few minutes to go. Before I go on to my next question, okay, Rose says she's from Asin Fosu. Nice. Thank you so much for making the
Oh wow,
time.
my Asen sister. Hey.
Hey, we are in the house.
Yeah.
So before I go on to the next question, please, as you have joined us, I'm sure that now you know about the HR conference that's going to be happening in Kumasi on the 26th of September. That gives me, by my count, some 7 weeks and a few days. And then we have George Sapo says, hi. Hello, George Sapo. Where are you joining us from? And then Josephine says she's from Takade. Okay. So the HR conference, the CEDAS HR conference is coming on on the 26th of September and is going to be in Kumasi. Please start making preparations. If you were part of it last year, you know very well that you cannot afford to miss it this year. So that's how we do it. It just keeps getting better and better. So please make sure you make arrangements to join us in Kumasi this year. And the details are running on the screen, so maybe you could take note of that, and then please do well to get in touch and do the necessary inquiries. And the phone number is there, and the link is right there, but maybe we would share it on the various platforms. Look on our website, look on our Instagram pages, and you can call 059-140-5555 for further inquiries. And then we have the CEDAT HR Digest magazine. It is for free, people. It is absolutely free. Please grab a copy, and whilst you are reading and enjoying all that wealth of knowledge, please do well to speak to the powers that be in your organizations to come and grab an advertisement slot, because that's how we are able to afford producing it and giving it to you out for free. So please do well and support us in that regard. So moving on. Um, Yvonne says, very educative. Thanks, Pat. Kofi says, connecting from Kumasi, we are waiting for you guys. Great. Did you hear that? They are waiting for us. So please, let's go. All roads lead to Kumasi, 26 September. George Sapo, enjoying your presentation from Accra, Newtown. Thank you for joining us, George. Okay, so my next question. How can organizations foster a company culture that promotes high level of employee engagement? I think in your last presentation, actually, you did touch here and there on it. And so what I would want to tie it into that question is, how does regular what role does regular feedback, recognition, career development, like you mentioned, play in keeping employees engaged? And I think one of the ways I would want to also for you to look at it is also two-pronged. There are organizations that actually show the interests, but it's like the person themselves, is it that they've given up on themselves, they don't know to go, or they're just not driven? Because I can, excuse me, I can see from experience where there was a certain group of category of workers in a certain profession where it's like all they want, let me not even go into the specifics. They wanted to live a certain way. None of them wanted to go beyond HND. They were comfortable. And then you find 2-3 years down the line, they were complaining that it's not things that are not, the company should do something, but they never upgrade. So how do you manage situations like that?
Right. Thank you. So, for the sake of those who may have just joined, let me say this, and I don't know, just for emphasis, that having disengaged employees, especially actively disengaged ones, no matter how small you may think the number is. You know, the research, we said 18% of them, as of 2022, 18% of
Yeah.
the workforce actively disengaged. Now, how does that affect the workplace? How does that affect the organization? And we have said it in so many ways. It really actually affects the growth, productivity. It reduces productivity and affects the growth of the organization. But I need you to imagine this, because sometimes we think that, oh, what if majority of them are not actively disengaged? So it's okay, but it's not okay. The reason why it's not okay is this. Let's say you have a room full of people, healthy people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then one person has, let me say, COVID, and the person enters the room full of healthy people, and one person with COVID enters the room with no protection, nothing, no nose masks, nothing. How will it be? Will the many people in the room be able to heal or give health back to the one person?
No.
Or will the one person rather infect the room full of people? And I think the
Yeah.
latter is the case.
Mm-hmm.
So don't let us um, think that, oh, I have only one person who is behaving like that, so it's okay. It is not okay, because by the time you realize, they move on, so they are passive. And now by the time you realize, they are actively disengaged. And then they are
Mm.
infecting people, especially those who come in fresh, and they have high energy, high emotional connection. Yeah, they really want to make a point make a mark in the organization. You realize that these people will be affecting them
Yeah.
negatively, infecting them. It's contagious. So we should rather nip it in the bud. We shouldn't allow it to continue. So let's
Mm.
use all the strategies we have discussed. I'm sure there are more. It's a conversation that we can go on and on and on. So let's research about it. What can we do? And sometimes some of the solutions are, it may be best practice, but it may not be best fit. But look within your organization and see the ones that will work best for you, and then
Mm.
look at it and work on that. When it comes to the culture is everything. Somebody says culture is strategy for breakfast, and that is true.
Yeah.
So if the culture is not well, it will affect how people behave within the organization. So to create that culture, first of all, communicate clearly to the employees the mission, the vision, the values
Yes.
of the organization, and go beyond just even telling them what they are, but also demonstrating how these values could be lived, demonstrating the behaviors that are expected, the behaviors that are rewarded, the behaviors that, as an organization, we value. And if people are demonstrating these behaviors, what is in it for them? How would we continue to motivate them to demonstrate these behaviors? Because as many people demonstrate these behaviors and other employees see them demonstrating these behaviors, it also will infect them. I mean, it's just like positive and negative, positive influences, negative influences. So would you want to rather let the positive influence the others, or you will let the negative influence, which will
Mm.
definitely have an adverse effect in the organization? So clearly, and then also, you need to always communicate tasks clearly to your people, your expectations. Let it be clear what you expect from them. If you want them to deliver, let's say, a product from La Paz to Tema, don't just say deliver it to Tema. How do you expect them to deliver it? How long should they take them to deliver it? And what should be the nature of the product they are delivering at the point where they are delivering it? So so that we take out assumption, because when people assume, because you want me to take it to Tema, so I will take it. If it takes me 4 hours, you just said I should take it to Tema. You didn't say I should take it to Tema within 1 hour, or within 2 hours,
Mm.
or within 3 hours. You didn't tell me that it should be this kind, this nature when it gets there. So if I move it from the past to Tema, and I get to Tema 4 hours, and then even that product, the wrapper is off by the time I get there. And now you come back to me and you're assessing me, you're saying you didn't meet the expectation because you should have gotten to Tema within 2 hours and the wrapper should have been still intact. But you didn't tell me this from the beginning. And I'm not God to know what you expect from me in your
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
So setting clear expectation is very important. It helps people to know how to manage their tasks, how to manage their jobs, how to manage their roles, how to the extra things they need to do. So, for example, if the person knew that 2 hours should be the number of hours to take there, then you will find creative means of going there. So that if the trotro is not full, he will not wait. He will maybe find another way, maybe bike or something to get
Yeah.
them. But he didn't say that. So they were comfortable sitting in the trotro. The trotro is not
Mm-hmm.
full. The trotro is not full. So the trotro will not move.
Mm-hmm.
Then you come back and hold it against them.
Right.
That would be good. So let them understand that in this environment, we give clear instructions, expectations are clear. In this environment, we live the values, they are clear. In this environment, you are psychologically safe. And this is very important. You are free to speak your mind. Nobody will hold it against you. Even
Mm.
if the person speaks their mind disrespectfully, I mean, especially for those who are the traditionally the baby boomers, for the millennials, Gen Zs, they say things as they, without even recourse to how it will affect you. But
Mm.
as a leader, you have to have the emotional intelligence, the high levels of emotional intelligence to be able to accept what they say, no matter how they say it. So that environment should be created that will say that okay, we are okay. You can, I mean, you are safe. Speak your
Mm.
mind, give us feedback and all
Right.
that, and that will
Right.
really help, and it will help them take ownership of what they do.
Mm.
Remember,
Mm.
unless or until such a time that they know and they know that you care about them, they won't care about your organization, and that is the fact.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't know
If
if
you do
I've
not let
answered
them
all
know.
the 3 in 1 question.
No, you have quite extensively. The sad part of it is that it is almost time. In fact, it's time.
Mm.
I still have a ton of questions I would have loved to. Maybe we should do a part.
Okay.
Okay, that
Right.
is not. Let me take it out to the jury. What I want to see your responses in the chat. Do we do a part two? That one wouldn't be me saying it. It will be the audience saying it. So, audience, please, did you enjoy it? Should we do a part two so that we drag Patricia back into the studio to have a part two? But also, I'm waiting for the verdict from the jury. Um,
Maybe
Susan.
sorry. Maybe okay. You finish with all you are reading the comments, and then I can come in.
Okay, Susan Livingstone Aintree. Thank you for joining, Susan. Listening from New Botiano, Accra. Very educative topic. Kudos to see that. Charles Loco says, when high risk talent exits the business, it affects their existing work
Let it.
whom they were mentoring or grooming. And this some cases, and eh,
Horses.
this causes these existing employees to be disengaged with time. Okay, and
Right.
this causes these existing employees to be disengaged with time. I absolutely agree.
Absolutely.
Elizabeth, sorry, so much to learn from this session as usual. Thank you. Always say that. Michael Kissy says part two very necessary. Just when aqua part two. Auntie, please, what were you about to say?
Yes, I think earlier you mentioned about I think Kaja part where he said they want to go beyond HND and now they want to so I'm saying that it gets to a point where there is nothing the organization can do, especially when you have
Yeah.
done all that you need to do. You have done all that you need to do. You have spoken to them. You have done the surveys. You have had conversations. You have put in place the measures that will help them come back, and they are not coming back. Then maybe it's time to activate your termination process.
Mm.
Because
Mm.
especially those who are actively disengaged, it gets to a point that you have, as an organization, you don't have to tolerate it. So then when they go
Mm.
on social media bad mouthing the company and saying negative things about the company, you want to have a conversation with them, but you want to
Yeah.
have a conversation that would lead to activation of the process of separation. Okay.
Mm.
And
Mm.
if it gets to a point where disengagement it becomes a performance issue, right? If they are doing their best, they are doing the minimum, they are competent, just that they are not going extra, that is fine. But
Mm-hmm.
at the point where it becomes a performance issue, where it affects their output, their performance, they are not delivering, then you should have a conversation and activate your separation process.
Mm. Mm.
If it gets to a point where whatever they are doing is creating a toxic environment that it's affecting other employees, then it's time to have a conversation and activate your separation clause. So this
Right.
is what it's not that, but yes, do all that you can to bring them back, but if they are not coming back, then you should do the needful appropriately. I mean, activate your
Mm.
process, make sure that you go through the right processes to have this done so that it doesn't come back in future to haunt you. But by all means, because sometimes the attitude is such that there's nothing you can do. They are
Right.
just disconnected, and there's no way of bringing it. Odona san, the love is not there again. So
Of course,
there's nothing you
the
can
love
do.
is not loving.
Uh-huh. So just divorce and let everybody be free.
Okay. I want to ask this particular. I know where time is up, but let me just chip in this one question before we go. Especially post-COVID, post-COVID, remote has come to stay, hybrid has come to stay. But there are still some companies who have decided, 𝐀𝐝𝐦𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐨𝐧, like we want to do in person, presenteeism. I'm a firm believer that presenteeism does not equal productivity. It's a whole different conversation. So, how does remote and hybrid work models, as they have come to stay, impact employee engagement, if it does at all? And what are some of the steps that can be taken to mitigate disengagements with this kind of settings? Because it can be a very tricky situation.
Indeed, indeed. I mean, it does. But before I go there, let me briefly say this. Remote work, hybrid, in person, it's company specific. So let's understand. Sometimes the structures and the nature of the business may not allow that you do, but if it's okay if you will still be able to do that without it affecting productivity, and then that is fine. I mean, and especially on need basis. And I think that one will also work on need basis. So if somebody says there's a project I'm doing, for which reason I will want to do maybe 2 days remote and 3 days, and you have a conversation with them, and it's okay to allow, especially when the person can still deliver outside of the workplace. Why not allow it?
Mm.
But yes, remote work has come to stay, hybrid has come to stay. But if you are not also careful, it will contribute to high levels of disengagement, because the person is not even physically. Those who are physically present, look at the way they are, either actively or passively disengaged. But what about those who are outside, working outside the organization? I mean, remotely.
Yeah.
It will affect if it is not managed properly. And I
Right.
think some of the issues that we have talked about, the fact that set clear expectations also goes for those who are working remotely. But beyond that, you also have to make sure that the right equipment, the right technology is deployed, even if they're working from home. I know an organization who would set up the home office for you. So there's a desk, a small desk, because you don't need a large space, but you also have to have a corner where it's your work corner, where the children
Mm-hmm.
will not come there, where when you are working
Mm-hmm.
and they'll be walking around and all that. So that should be created. It doesn't have to
Mm.
cost much, and then they should be given dedicated internet, because it's not everybody that has internet at their homes. So
Right.
even dedicated, so the right technology, the equipment should be given to them to work.
Mm-hmm.
Then they will give
Mm-hmm.
up their best. Then there should be
Yeah.
regular check-ins not micromanaging. And let me be clear on this. You don't have to micromanage if you have set clear expectations and deadlines for them. But you check in, and it's a time that both of you have agreed that this is our check-in period. So maybe we check in every Wednesday at this time. We check in every Friday at this time. That one is established. It's not like, hey, how far have you gone? You call 10 minutes, 30 minutes, and no, it disrupts the flow of work. So that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about regular check-ins that have been agreed by the two parties. And then also make it fun. Have virtual fun sections. Let's just have virtual lunch, okay, together. Virtual coffee. We are not giving you coffee, but let's grab your own coffee. Let's have this together. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's have fun activities together. Let's break the monotony, and bring back the fun. Because you want, as much as possible, bring it to how the workplace is if they were working in person as much as possible. It can't be 100%, but at least there are certain things that you can do. And people have been able to have coffee, virtual coffees, virtual, breaks and lunch, very, very nicely done. And people share their experiences and all that. It keeps them engaged, knowing that, I'm not alone. The team is with me. The bosses are with me. The organization is with me. I'm not left on my own, even though I'm working remotely. So maybe when we do the part 2, we can talk more about it. So more details. But this is what I can say. Yes, remote work, if it's not managed carefully, will contribute to disengagement. But putting the right strategies in place would help.
Great. Fantastic. I've had a great time, and from the comments, I know everyone who joined in today has also had a very great time. I believe I said it from the beginning that this excuse me, that this topic is packed, and it's a very interesting topic. It's one of those topics that you can go on and on and on and on and on. It would never really end. So it's opportune that we have a part 2, and you have said it yourself that when we have the part 2. So yes, the part 2 is
if. I've changed my statement. If.
The internet has recorded it already. People, I know you heard, right? So the internet has recorded it. It is etched in the annals of time that we will have a part 2. So we would communicate that, and we hope to get you on board again for that session. And because this, I think, is a topic that needs to be very thoroughly discussed, and then the strategies that have proven to be effective also shared. Because at the end of the day, the end goal is that we are looking for improved work places. We are looking for better lives for employees. And then when they have a better life, they can definitely contribute to bottom line, and so employers will also be happy. So it's a win-win situation for everybody. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. So Michael Kisi, part 2, very necessary. Josephine Aqua, part 2, Rose Archery, part 2 is very necessary. Amanda Akwishi, very educative. Amanda Akwishi says we want part 2, and then Charles Loco says part 2. Anti-part. The jury has decided. So we shall bring you. Don't worry, we will bring you. We'll deliver part 2. But before I go, please take your phones and please go to the SIDAT website, and please look out for the link to register for the HR conference. It's very important that you register. It's for 26th of September. It's happening at Kumasi. Please make a point to register. It's going to be a great time. If you haven't joined or you've never heard of the HR conference, just go to the YouTube channel and go through and look for the one from last year and just have a taste of what it's like. And that alone should make you make a decision. And you really will not regret the decision to join us for the HR conference in Kumasi this year. 26 September is the date. And the magazine is out. And like I keep saying, it is absolutely free. the details to where you can get them will be rolling on the screen shortly. Please make sure you grab a copy. It is free, absolutely free. We do encourage you, however, to speak to your bosses, speak to decision makers in your organizations to come and grab an advertising slot. Those are the money making avenues for us that facilitate our ability to produce it and give it out for free. So please support the magazine by pushing for adverts by your companies in the magazine. That will go a very long way. Jose, I hope I got the name right. Jose Ashlevi, an eye opener. Say that you do all. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Jose. Forgive me if I didn't pronounce your name well. Antipat, it's been a wonderful session. Great wealth of knowledge from you as always. And I think what we've shared goes a long way to help settle some things in people's minds and begin to make people think in a certain direction. And so definitely it has been a wonderful session. I have learned a lot and I know everybody has learned a lot. Thank you so much for your time. And then we'll surely meet again and continue on our part 2, right?
Thank you for having me. It's an honor. Thank you, everyone who was able to join, and thank you for the comments and for the encouragement. And thank you so much for calling for part 2. If the Lord permits us, yes. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you so much. So until next week, when we make a date again with you, same time, please let's all have a great week and catch you again. My name is 𝐀𝐝𝐦𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐨𝐧. Until next time again, have a great week. Bye-bye.